D.A.R.E, Brattleboro's community talk show. I'm Wendy O'Connell, and our guest this week is Helena Leschuk. Helena came to Brattleboro by way of Marlboro College, where she studied theater and film. She's worked locally at the Latches Theater and Mondo Media Works, and she's now the operations manager right here at Brattleboro Community Television. Helena always brings enthusiasm, energy, good humor, and her consummate organizational skills to everything that she does. Welcome, Helena.
Hi, Wendy.
It's great to have you on the show.
Thank you, thank you.
We're very excited to have you on the show because you're part of the BCTV team. And so far, I think we've had 3 people from the team, some of whom have gone, and we have 2 left. And one of them is Nolan Edgar, our content manager, and the other is on the camera right now, Brian Bashaw.
Yep.
They'll be on soon. So Helena, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Wendy.
I know you've got a busy day. You were born in New Haven, Connecticut.
This is right, yes.
And you spent pretty much most of your life till you came to Marlboro.
My first 18 years, stuck in the same town, tiny little town down in Connecticut. North Branford, Connecticut is my hometown. Just about 20 minutes from New Haven. Nice solid 2 hours down 91 from Brattleboro, Vermont. Very boring town. A lot of people think Brattleboro is boring, but I really, really disagree. There's such a vibrant downtown here, and the community bond is so strong that I felt it up on the hill at Marlboro College and just, wanted to be a part of it.
That's so great.
I never left.
Growing up, your mom was a music teacher, and she was Russian Czech. That's her background. And your dad was born in a German labor camp.
Yes.
And that's quite a history there.
It's a very interesting history I wish I knew more about. My dad's side of the family tends to be pretty quiet about the 4 years between my father's birth at the end. He was born in December of 1945, so it was a good length of time after the end of World War II. But at the time, Stalin was moving families all around Russia and other parts of Europe. And for whatever reason, my grandmother, Maria, was in a labor camp in Amberg, Germany, and that was where she gave birth to my father, Vasily, who then became William Leschuk when he emigrated here in 1949, when he was 4 years old.
When he was 4.
Yep.
And they came to America.
They came to Ellis Island.
He probably didn't talk very much about his childhood.
We really didn't know, and it of course wasn't until it was later in his life. And of course, I'll say here that my father passed almost 5 years ago in 2017 on my 32nd birthday, July 28th. So I really didn't hear very much from him until I was in my 30s. And all he really told me was he was nostalgic for the brown bread hanging from the ceiling of these dirt shacks that he was living in. And this time, this is what is now the Ukraine, which was where my family was sent by, tyrannical leaders who decided to move my family around.
Yes.
How we got out of there, I really don't know. So there's some big puzzle pieces from my past that are big question marks.
Yes, I'll bet, and I think that's true of an awful lot of people who emigrated during that time.
Definitely.
Did he have siblings?
He has 3 older siblings. He's the youngest of 4. My aunt Irene, born Irenia, passed on a year after my dad, but Svetlana, now Lana, is almost 100, the matriarch of the Leschuks, and Sergei, now Serge, is my uncle, and he's still kicking. Still got a couple Leschuks down in Connecticut. Everyone's located down in Connecticut.
And are you in contact with them?
Through my mother.
Yeah.
Through my mother.
Well, there's still maybe some accessible stories there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. To really hearing more. I hope too that, I don't know, it's really unfortunate what's going on now. I can't help but feel a little connected to my homeland that's at war with my other homeland.
Yes.
So this is kind of bringing up a lot of old blood.
I'll bet it will.
That we thought was buried.
Yes, that's right. And even though you may not have any strong physical ties to the Ukraine, you certainly have some blood-related
Yes,
experience.
and I imagine that there are some Leschuks out there in Russia or what's now the Ukraine.
Yes.
That are my distant cousins, perhaps.
Sure. Your mom was a music teacher.
She was a music teacher until she was pregnant with me. And then she took a break to have my brother. Then soon after I was born, he was just about a year after I was born. And then she moved over to actually working for the United Church of Christ. And she's now a music director for the Northford Congregational Church.
So you had a lot of music in your family.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I grew up with a baby grand piano in my living room, but my mom didn't play it very much. But she gave piano lessons. You know, I attempted to learn piano from my mother, which was very difficult for both of us.
Yes.
My advice is to not take music lessons from your parent because they know when you are not practicing. And they will guilt trip you, which of course is the Connecticut way to raise your kid, is just guilt them. Thanks, Mom. But aside from that, you know, I remember learning compositions very, very young. And even outside of the classical music that she would play and listen to because she loves classical. She loves Beethoven, Mozart, always reading about these topics. But it grew into me becoming obsessed with the music that she was playing in our Dodge minivan when I was 5 years old, which was the Beatles, I remember very well, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band on repeat, and Thriller by Michael Jackson.
Wow.
So between that and the classical music, you know, my appreciation was very broad at a very young age.
Yes.
As I became a rebellious teen in high school and I started getting into punk music, to be completely honest, and I was shaving my head and dyeing it all kinds of crazy colors, you know, that's when she started noticing this might be. Actually, it was my dad, first of all, that was like, this is inappropriate. Had to have a sit-down family meeting. What is Helena listening to? She's 16 years old. And my mom was the staunch defender of me to just have freedom of choice, pretty much.
Yeah.
And not discrediting any music genre. Just, you know, let her experiment, basically.
It was you and your brother growing up together, and at some point in the school that system that you were in, you were noted as a gifted student. Yes, and I put that in quotes because I think it has a lot of different kinds of connotations. What were those connotations for you?
Well, I am a geriatric millennial, which is a really nice term for someone born in the middle of the 80s, and you know, I grew up in the 90s. So this is the generation of getting participation trophies, even though I didn't really do anything. Obviously, I do think I'm a smart cookie, and to be recognized at 10 as a gifted writer, I was writing really strange stories too. Like they were up there with Stephen King. So that's when I was kind of pulled aside and put into a gifted class,
Yes.
Gifted writing class. And a lot of those kids ended up going up through, you know, all through high school, going to AP Bio and AP English and all of this, whereas I kind of just hung out in my my slacker role of getting B's and the occasional A and C. So I, you know, at the time, being called a gifted student kind of just felt like it was plunked in my lap. You know, it's really great to go around and tell your mom and your dad, hey, I'm gifted, I'm in the special class, they love it, you know, I get pats on the back, cheers, all of that great stuff. But what happens after that? You know, it wasn't a lasting experience in my development, in my opinion. There was no through line to, you know, your college career.
Right. And did it open up any doors for you in terms of the kinds of classes you were taking, even in high school? No.
No, it really didn't do much, except put that word on me of gifted,
Right.
which, you know, your parents get to brag about.
Right.
And you get to brag about a little bit.
Yeah.
I remember also getting an award from D.A.R.E. Everyone remembers D.A.R.E.
Yes.
That was another writing accolade where I wrote an essay and read it in front of the entire school and their parents. as a 10-year-old. So that was very terrifying. And I got to eat ice cream afterwards, and that's the extent of my memory.
There's your memory.
Yes.
There's the big memory, right?
I got a teddy bear, and I got a fudgesicle. So.
Yeah, yeah. And so your brother also, you grew up with him very close in age. And
we were almost twins when we were kids.
Yeah.
Very similar looking kids.
And you spent a lot of time with him.
We spent a lot of time together. We always went on family vacations together. I was kind of the one to make him laugh when he was getting toted around to therapy, and then this therapy, speech therapy, vision therapy, all different kinds of therapies. And I was just, I was dragged along too, but I was there to be the fun sister. I just kind of wanted to make things lighter for what I saw as a big struggle for my brother.
You studied theater at Marlboro, but you also did some theater in high school, right?
I was obsessed with drama club before I even got to high school, and actually the summer before my freshman year of high school, I took a special drama class, which was great. It was like my entry into the high school before I'd even set foot in the building. Met current high school students that later became my friends, met Mr. G, who was my theater professor, and his wife was the English teacher at my high school, at North Branford High School. It really became a path, as you know, because I did drama club every year. I did every friend-made play because I had a lot of friends who wrote plays. So there was a lot. There was a lot of me being on the stage, and then through Marlboro College too.
Well, sticking with theater for a minute, also, Helena, you talked about that playing a character who is not me, and that it's more fun to look through another's eyes. Can you talk a little about that?
Definitely. It's unique to acting, I think. It's one thing to read a book and put yourself in the character, but to actually have to adapt physically and mentally to being a person and being believable as that person, it's a very unique experience, and one that I was not ever really scared of. The scary part was remembering the lines, but I don't remember ever having stage fright, which is part of why I'm here today.
And here we are.
I don't have a fear of the public eye too much. I feel like I can own what I say, especially if I'm not the one saying it and I'm playing a character and they're the ones delivering these thoughts and beliefs. It's a very unique experience. It's helped me really think very broadly. And it's part of that, put yourself in that person's shoes, and that's applicable to your everyday life, in my opinion. Right.
Yes, so there's an element of having compassion for different kinds of people.
Absolutely. Yes, I mean, acting is empathy. It really is. It's getting the emotional connection to what your character is conveying in that moment.
Let's talk about your writing as well, because that seems to be something else that follows through with things that you're interested in, things that you've done. And you've kept a journal for many years.
Many years. I remember being 7 years old and literally making my own journal out of a 3-ring binder. And we didn't have a 3-ring hole puncher, so I just took my one hole puncher and manually punched holes in the paper so I could have a journal. Yep. I can't promise that all of them are finished. I have a bad habit of buying new journals and then I'm going to use this new one, even though the old one's not filled up.
You're not alone in that.
Oh, I know. And I've even had online journals, because being a geriatric millennial, I have been using the internet since I was 12 years old. And one of the first things I did was, there was maybe some people listening remember LiveJournal. I had one of those. There were other open journal sites that you could actually just connect with other people all over the country or world. So it was, I was being honest about my life and my experience and finding other people relating to that. And I'm still friends with some of these people now as a 36-year-old, and I've known them literally since I was 15. Met them once in person. So if in my experience, journaling is me just being completely bearing it all, being honest and unafraid. And to put it out on the internet is something I don't do now. However, when the internet was still a baby, I felt a lot more safe doing that.
So it's also, I would assume, cathartic for you.
It is, and being able to go back is really why I can keep doing this.
Yeah.
You know, there is something cathartic about, I have friends who burn all of their journals.
Yes.
And, you know, I have like a giant stack of composition notebooks from when I was like 11 years old, and I have no reason to have these, but they're useful. You know, seeing physical evidence that you have grown as a person is just so invaluable. It's
Yes.
so invaluable.
Yeah.
And it can be forgotten. You forget how much you've grown.
Yes, yes, and you forget the thoughts you were thinking at the time.
And it can be
all
it
of
can be
that.
very cringy. I understand that.
Yeah.
You know, you go back on Facebook and something you said 12 years ago, and you're like, oh, I
right.
can't believe I thought that way. But you know, you're not that person anymore. You
Yes.
don't live there anymore.
Yeah.
You've grown.
Yes.
So to me, I find being repulsed by your past self is wonderful.
Okay, we're going to go with that. You spoke really interestingly about drumming.
Oh.
and wanting to drum at an early age, but also your relationship to that now.
Yes, it's still. I'm not a drummer. You know, I'm completely in control of my own life, being an adult, and you know that's my own fault for not finding a kit of my own. I have, you know, like I said, I have soft kits that I'll bang on every once in a while, but it's not the same. And for me, the connection there is the vibration that comes from stretching the leather of the drum out. And we are vibrational beings. You know, we're living in a vibrational world. This is my hippy dippy hat that I wear sometimes, but to me, I totally believe it. We're a vibrational being. We're interacting with other vibrations in our life. So being the 10-year-old who wanted to bang on a drum, and my mother believing that I just wanted to be a noisy kid, you know, it went beyond that. And I truly believe that. Even at 10 years old, I wanted to interact with the vibrational world on a higher plane. And I try to connect with that. And I mentioned yoga. I don't do it as much anymore, but for whatever reason, I was imagining drums as I was doing yoga, and I realized that I was creating vibrations myself, whereas a drum is also stretching to create vibrations. So I couldn't help but feel the literary metaphor there in a huge way.
That's it's a great image.
I love metaphors. I seek them out on a daily basis.
That's a really good quote. You did film at Marlboro College.
I studied film.
You studied film.
So just to make a note of that, and why I'm not, you know, behind a camera, and you know, I'm making it pretty obvious that I'm the artsy person, and I'm looking at themes in films, and the production, the end product, and not the, you know, behind the scenes and the creation of the film.
Right.
Just to make a distinction about that.
Although I do believe here at BCTV, you've taken part in some video work.
I have.
That the crew has created.
I have been in a few things so far. You know, I'm starting early. This is only my second year at BCTV, and I'm really, I guess, carving out my niche here as a personality to be on camera, which, hey, it was bound to happen, right? We did create a little short about what it was like being back in the office post-COVID.
That's right, yes.
And we found it hilarious, but unfortunately it did not win the award for the category that we submitted to.
And very, very entertaining.
It was very entertaining.
Yes.
And it's reflective of my relationship with my coworkers.
Yes, let's talk about the coworkers. Let's talk about the team spirit at BCTV, because it is large and it is generous.
It's very generous, and since my first day, I've just felt like this was where I was meant to be. And I hear that reflected at me from you, from other volunteers who just say like, oh, we feel like you've always been here. And it makes my heart explode a little bit with gratitude. I've been all over Brattleboro. I'm sure people might recognize me from a cafe where I've served you coffee or a sandwich or something, or you stayed at the Latches and I was your front desk agent because I did that for a very long time. So I've been all over the place, but ending up here at BCTV is really just such a gift. It came at such a crazy time. You know, we were all in the pandemic. It was 2020. I'd had about 9 months of absolutely nothing to do, and I'd also been recently unemployed. So I was sick of it. You know, I'd been through bouts of unemployment multiple times, and you know, I thought I had being bored really down, but I was so wrong. You know, there's only so much forensic files you can watch on YouTube with your cat before you start feeling like every day is literally exactly the same. So my very good friend, Austin Rice, who I knew from the Latches days, and I did assist him in making some films. So we had a professional relationship outside of just a friendly relationship. He knew that Vlasta was retiring. He thought I would be perfect, and I applied. It was the easiest application I've ever had to do, and I'm just so lucky. I remember jumping around my apartment when they finally offered me the job, and just like, finally, I am done. Like, I'm done. I don't have to apply for anything else. I'm done selling myself. I'm done writing these cover letters that I have to fake enthusiasm for. This was just something I never had to fake anything. I was totally honest about my skills, about where I wanted to go, and everything here has just been so easy for me.
That's so great. And there's such a great spirit in the station.
It's so easy to be excited to be here. There's so many people like you who come here with wonderful ideas and just want some support in making their idea a reality. And I couldn't be prouder of the work that we do here.
Yes.
And that everyone does. Everyone works extremely hard and only has the best of best results as their end result. You know, that's our goal.
Well, and also, you know, you guys are here to help as well. You're here to help people like me do what we want to do. And again, it's a shout out to the fact that we have a community television station. And again, getting the word out that this is something for everyone in the community to take part in. I'm scared that social media takes a lot of our thunder because to me, this really is the access for everybody. You don't have to have an internet connection to walk in here. You know, you don't even have to have money necessarily. You just have to have an idea and the drive to make your idea a reality. Yeah. And we fill in everything else. Yes, and you guys make it easy, and each of you has very many different talents. We do. Helena, by the way, kind of keeps things together. She's sort of the linchpin in all this because she's at the front desk, which means being at the front desk, answering the phone and talking to people and making arrangements and scheduling, and trying to figure out how to get that many people over the ski jump when there's no snow. Yes, that kind of thing. Yes. Yeah. The ski jump was fun. Oh my God, it was so much fun. It was my first year doing it because in 2021 it did not happen. That's right. So dealing with the logistics of people is really my main job. Finding people, finding you out there, finding producers, finding volunteers, scheduling them, scheduling our staff, dealing with more people, and that includes our production crew, not our main staff. And equipment. It's, and you really do need a technical mind here. I mean, maybe not need, but this is just where the future is going. Hybrid meetings are a standard now. I interact a lot with the municipal meetings as well. So if you live in Putney, Dummerston, Townsend, Vernon, Jamaica, Guilford, thank you, Brattleboro, obviously, these are the towns that we serve, and I am the one organizing the staff and the equipment to go and film all of these meetings. And I'm the one checking the video. I'm just trying to, do my checklist of here's the meetings this week. And that alone, I feel, is just such a great service that BCTV provides to the community. Absolutely. And being a person who is somewhat, attentive to the governance in the area, and I'm a Brattleboro resident, it's just so beneficial to have BCTV in the room capturing what we're capturing. And we're doing forums, public informational meetings. There's going to be some stuff about the Brattleboro Fire Department coming up because that's a big topic. So it's very exciting to me for us to have our finger on the pulse of changes, very important changes to people's lives through these municipalities. Yes, and in the olden days, which wasn't that long ago, it was all on local TV. Absolutely. But now we can stream. Yes. So there are all of these things that are accessible
I see it all the time too. Like even today, there's a video circulating that we did last year about the Brattleboro Fire Department, and it's really exciting to me to just see like, oh, here's organically just showing up on my Facebook page is a video that I sent Austin to go to at Rescue Inc. last year. You know, it's very validating to know that even though it's not current necessarily, there's still an archive that we can go back to, and it's just such a wonderful resource for people.
The archival stash at BCTV is huge and pertinent in so many different ways. You've been in Brattleboro for over 15 years, I believe.
I like to
right
say,
around there.
Yeah, I came in 2003. That was my entry year at Marlboro College, and then I just stayed.
Yes, yes. Have you seen big changes in the community?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. The biggest change, of course, is just that Marlboro College is gone.
Oh, yes.
And I was, as a young 18-year-old from Connecticut, I would come down the hill, down those 9 miles, and I would see vibrancy down here and fun. And it wasn't, you know, it wasn't gallery walk. It was just people out in Harmony parking lot, just having a time. And there would be a food truck sometimes down there, and just the organic excitement of the community in Brattleboro was really attractive to me, as I mentioned.
Yes.
I also really love that I know business owners on a first name basis.
Right.
I can just say, oh, hello, Jim Andrews, you own George Brooks Florist, and I know you personally. So having that personal connection to people who are like literally creating the economy of Brattleboro, I find that really wonderful. And it's exactly the community element that I was looking for growing
That's so
up.
great, yes. And it's a lot of businesses that have been here a long time, or organizations, and some that are brand
And the
new.
amount of nonprofits in this area is really wonderful too. Now that I work for a nonprofit, it's so great. I'm so glad we have all of these resources here that aren't focused on just making money and making that graph line go way up. We're focused on actually providing a service to people.
Yes.
While sustaining our staff.
That's right. And the whole thing. And you're doing the choreography. You're right at the center.
I am. I do try to stay organized. It's really hard, especially with the equipment. Brian knows. But you know, we all do our part. We all work together very, very, very well.
Yes, you do. It is a great environment.
We have a great sense of humor. I just have a lot of fun. It's never ever a struggle for me to come to work.
That is saying so much. That's great. Those are great last words. Thank you, Helena.
You're welcome.
That was fun.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I like to be fun. I had a friend in college who said I was the most fun person, and that was a very long time ago. And you know, generations change, and I even feel like a new generation of Helena versus what I was at Marlboro College. But you know, it's that growth and looking back and realizing you're a different person.
Yeah, a different person who still wants to have fun.
Who still wants to have fun and somehow still have empathy.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Wendy.
Yeah.
Time blew by.
It just like that.
Yes.
Just like
I'll
that.
stop sticking my tongue out. I'm sorry.
Thanks to Helena. Helena coming on the show. Helena Leschuk, who is part of BCTV in a very big way and giving us a little bit of an inside story into BCTV and herself. So thanks to Helena, thanks to all of you for coming in and joining us today. Keep your eyes on BCTV. New things are happening all the time. We've got a great newsletter that Helena puts together and organizes and writes and sends out. If you'd like to be on the mailing list, be in touch. And just stay tuned, and we will see you again next week.